Martin, let us
Yeah.
know. Let us
Okay.
know. Let us know. It will be a great pleasure, a great honor to share with the whole community, Anahuac University, all your history about technology. We can consider you the father of the cell phones. Please let us know your fantastic history in this area.
Yeah. You could say it in Spanish too. Let's see. I forgot. El padre de
El,
telefono.
el padre de la telefonía celular.
My Spanish is terrible. I just want you.
And my English is so it's incredible, terrible too.
Yeah. Okay. So, how do you want to do this? You want to ask me questions, or you want me to go through your questions, or should I just talk?
You can go ahead. You can share all your history in the cell phone technologies. How can you start it, Martin?
You are going to take this recording and transcribe it and do it.
Yeah,
Uh, and
yeah, right.
okay, so okay. Uh, you ask first of all about my career.
Yeah.
You know that I always knew I was going to be an engineer from the time I was a little boy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so I went to a technical high school. I went
In
to
Illinois.
the university in Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
which was a wonderful school. And because my parents were not very wealthy, I got the United States Navy to pay
Uh-huh.
for my education. And in exchange, I had to serve in the Navy for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that was a very good thing to do because I ended up growing up in the Navy. When I started in the Navy, when I finished after 4 years, I think I was finally an adult. Although I'm not so sure, Carlos.
Yeah.
Some people tell me I still have not grown up yet. So my first job was with a company called Teletype. You don't know what a teletype machine is because you're much too young.
Uh-huh.
But this was a mechanical printer. I knew that this was not going to be there and joined Motorola. That was the most smart thing I ever did because Motorola was focused on technology.
Yeah.
Uh, the founder of Motorola had a principle, which was do not fear failure, reach out.
Mm-hmm.
And that fit perfectly with my personality. I love to take chances. I love to try out new things. And
That is a great message, Martin.
I'm sorry.
That is a great message. Message.
Uh, I thought that this was Motorola actually practiced that. I had during my time at Motorola, I
Uh-huh.
had a number of successes, but I also have failures. And somehow Motorola forgave my failures and gave me an opportunity to do more and more new things.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always grateful to Motorola. I left Motorola until 1993. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm surprised that it took so long. But so the first business that I started with my wife had to do with doing all of them for the new cellular operators.
Mm-hmm.
And that business we ended up selling in 1987. And since then, my wife and I have been starting new businesses. The most important one that we started was a company called Great Call, which started the jitterbug phone. I don't know if you ever heard of a jitterbug phone. This is a cell phone that is designed for simplicity.
Yeah.
And this was a successful business. Today, that business is owned by Best Buy. Do you have Best Buy in Mexico?
Right now, no.
Oh, is that so? Well, at any rate, my wife is still deeply engaged in new businesses. I am, at the moment, I'm focused on help small businesses get started. And I'm still very interested in technology. So why did we create cellular telephony in the first place? It was our belief that communications is not meaningful unless you can communicate all the time. Where a wired telephone does not do that, as you know. You are tied to your desk, you're tied to the wall. We have been in that mode for 100 years. And then the bell system. The bell system was a monopoly in the 1970s. And they announced that they were going to solve this problem, that they were going to set us free from the wire. At Motorola, we thought that was terrible. We had been trapped in our offices. We are wired to the wall in our homes, and now they're going to trap us in our cars. And this was not a solution. And this is when my colleagues at Motorola and I decided that we were going to take on the bell system, that we were going to fight them. And our solution was the handheld mobile telephone, which, as you know, we were successful. It took a struggling to get the attention of our government, of the Federal Communications Commission, but we succeeded in persuading them that the future was not automobile telephones. The future was the handheld, personal, portable telephone. So that was the very beginning of what we call cellular today.
Martin, please share with us the incredible history of about the inspiration you had with Captain Kirk about Star Trek.
Well, that's an interesting story, Carlos, because
beautiful story.
I was visited. They made a movie called "How William Shatner Changed the World."
Yeah.
And they came.
I know him well.
Yeah, and they came to my home, and they were making all these movies, and I made the statement that Star Trek was my inspiration.
Yeah,
that's not really accurate, Carlos. I was only engaged in show business.
Yeah,
but the real truth is the inspiration was a comic strip. You have comic strips in Mexico, don't you?
Yeah.
And there was a famous comic strip called Dick Tracy.
Of course.
And Dick Tracy had on his wrist, he had a two-way radio. He could talk to anybody on his two-way radio. And at Motorola, we worked very hard to make a wrist two-way radio. When we finally succeeded, Dick Tracy had a video phone on his wrist. So he just stayed ahead of us. But
Yeah.
if there was an inspiration, it was not Captain Kirk, it was not Star Trek, it was Dick Tracy. So
Yeah.
we patented the invention of the
Mm-hmm.
cellular telephone, and the answer is yes. And when
Very
I
important.
joined Motorola,
Mm-hmm.
I signed a document that gave Motorola the rights to all of my inventions, as long as I worked for Motorola. And for that, they gave me $1.
Uh-huh.
But it was the best deal I ever did, Carlos.
Of course.
Me the opportunity to extend my mind to do
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of things that I could never have done otherwise. My colleagues at Motorola were the smartest engineers and the best managers. They taught me how to run a business and how to create new businesses. So I think you got the message that
Mm-hmm.
my joining Motorola was a great experience for me.
Martin, can you tell us about
So,
Dyna LLC? What is the role of your beautiful wife, Arlene Harris?
well, at some point we decided that my wife and I were going to look at new opportunities, and so
Mm-hmm.
we created our own we call it a holding company. It's a place where we start businesses and then we create new companies. A great call she started another business that she's working on even today.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Rethink.
Yeah.
In essence, is using artificial intelligence to help us communicate with each other with pictures. So she's still working very hard on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I am focused, as you know, on getting healthy again. I just had a new knee transplant
Yeah.
3 weeks ago, and I'm now walking around not exactly like a 10-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm working very hard at regaining my ability to walk. And within a couple of weeks from now, I will be walking normally.
Yeah.
You asked whether in 1972, did I visualize then how important cellular telephony was going to be?
Yeah.
Because, as you well know, Carlos,
Did you imagine sometime the impact of cell phone social impact in our
Yeah.
lives, Martin, and the communication of all of us in our habits?
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, Carlos, there are more cell phones in the world today than there
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
are. 2/3 of the people on Earth
Right.
use cell phones. The things that can be done with a cell phone are far beyond what we do in the more developed countries. And in fact, what is going on in Mexico
Mm-hmm.
is very much leadership, especially in the area of medicine. It makes it possible to do healthcare at a distance.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to give you some examples of what has been done in Mexico. They developed a device that allows a doctor to do an eye examination
Mm-hmm.
remotely. A small device, very inexpensive, maybe
Uh-huh.
$5, that hooks onto a cell phone. And in a small village, a person in the village can
Mm-hmm.
use this device to do an eye examination for a person, but the doctor who does this eye examination is in Mexico City, and he can do that eye examination remotely.
Yeah.
That experiment was done, would you believe, 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that is still going on. The development that was done right close to where I live. I live in San Diego. We have, remind me, what city in Mexico is across the border from San Diego?
Tijuana.
Oh, my mind is failing. But at any rate,
Tijuana, Martin.
a very similar kind of a thing, where they developed a device that attaches to a cell phone and it allows somebody to do an examination. And they can do this examination once again in a small city in Mexico, and have a doctor in a large city actually do analysis of the ultrasound. So this is a new technology that I think is going to show us the way of the future, that it will be possible to remotely do a physical examination, and will include an artificial intelligence that will measure things on your body continuously. So, we have a concept here called an annual physical examination. I'm sure you have the same thing in Mexico.
Yeah.
I do an annual physical examination at least once every 5 years. That was a joke. I don't know if I should tell jokes in English, but it's very useful, because the disease does not wait for a year before its onset. The disease will happen at any time, and it is possible, using a cell phone with some artificial intelligence, with sensors on your body, to give you an examination every minute. And so that if you have a disease that is starting in your body before it becomes a disease,
it's incredible,
for that disease. So it's going to take a while to fully develop this technology, but there is the dream that sometime in the future there will be no more diseases. When you have a disease, even if you have cancer, that something, a device on your body, will look at your body, observe the cancer cells forming, hook you up with a doctor. So this is not going to happen in my generation, but within the next few generations, we look for a future when there is no more disease. The other big thing that is happening in the area of education, it's my belief, Carlos, that it is not possible to have a complete education today without having the student. Just think about it. A modern student has available to them all the knowledge in the world. So having a teacher stand up in front and give him information, that doesn't make any sense at all, does it?
Yeah.
What teachers in the future will do is teach students how to access this information, how to tell the difference between useful information, teach students how to use these new technologies. So the problem with that is that many of our students in the US, in Mexico, everywhere in the world, do not have access to the internet. There are two reasons for that.
That's right.
One reason is that there is not coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And the second reason, they can't afford it. Somehow, that governments throughout the world, not only US and Mexico, but everywhere, that the highest priority has to be to give coverage and make it economic for students to have access to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
If we succeed in this, our students, our youngsters, will be smarter than we are, and they will solve some of the problems. As you know, we have lots of problems today.
Yeah.
It is my dream that cellular technology will contribute to a smarter world,
Mm-hmm.
a world where there is no war, a world where there is no poverty, and a world where people can succeed in contributing to society throughout their lives.
Yeah.
So that is my long-term dream, and I'm working very. I'm sure you have heard about 5G, 6G.
Yeah, of course. What can you tell us about this next generation of cell phones?
Well, they would like us to believe
Mm-hmm.
that the future of cell phones is the Internet of Things.
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think there are some value to that. I think at some point factories will be run using. They have not completed the Internet of People.
Uh-huh.
And people are still the most important thing, Carlos. So I believe the carriers are misguided, that they should be putting more emphasis on making sure that every student has full-time access to the internet. And we call that problem the digital divide. There should not, who are wealthy enough, who are in cities where they can have internet access, and have another group of people who do not have access to the internet. That's completely unacceptable.
Uh-huh.
Every student has to have internet access. And so I'm working very hard to achieve that in the U.S. I'm certain that there are people in Mexico and every country in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that our children are smarter than we are, because we haven't done such a great job, have we?
Yeah.
In the world today.
Please share with us your opinion, Martin, about people or some leaders like Mark Zuckerberg.
I'm sorry, you're talking about Elon Musk?
What's your opinion, Martin, about leaders like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk?
I'm a strong advocate of the future of artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
We have no idea today what artificial intelligence will become.
Yeah.
There are some dangers.
Mm-hmm.
There are some results that are happening that we do not understand now with regard to artificial intelligence. But I have confidence in humanity. We have had these technology. I think you may remember when you were a child. When was that, Carlos? About 2 years ago, when you were a child. So the people were worried when TV came that people will become addicted to TV.
Yeah.
And somehow we have solved that problem, right? We have people somehow are using TV both for entertainment, but also for education. So how to adopt new technologies with regard to the cellular opportunities, I think we are just at the beginning of the cellular revolution. We are just learning now we have been playing with these things. We're having things called social media, but we are now learning how important cell phones are for education,
Yeah.
for medicine, as we had talked about, but mostly to improve productivity.
Mm-hmm.
Or every individual can produce more. We have the potential of eliminating poverty. And today there is absolutely no excuse for anybody to be poor, for anybody to be hungry.
Mm-hmm.
We have enough technology available today, enough intellectual capacity to be able to solve that problem. And all the problems we have in the world today, I think that is the one that is most unacceptable. Nobody should that they don't have the fundamental requirements for existence. I'm sorry that I'm getting on my.
Martin, in some way, we can say that we have right now intelligent or artificial intelligence and intelligent devices, but foolish people.
Intelligent devices for what?
We can say that we are having intelligent devices, artificial intelligence, but we also are having foolish people, zombies people using their cell phones.
Of course, I witness that every day.
Yeah.
The,
we are all distracted.
The best example that I have is I still am amazed when I'm driving my car, people walking across the street.
Yeah.
Attention to the traffic.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, but I know because I have been in Mexico many times that your drivers are just like our drivers. If the drivers don't pay attention and the pedestrians don't pay attention, it sounds like a disaster in the making for me.
Yeah.
So there are cell phone addicts. My wife is constantly looking at her cell phone. So I really that people are going to learn how to use the cell phone in ways that improve productivity and that make them more effective, that solve the poverty problem as well as the other thing we've talked about. So the future cell phones are going to be very different than the cell phones we have today. First of all, you know, the idea listeners can't, but the idea of taking a cell phone and holding it up next to your head, the cell phone is flat, your head is round. You have to hold it in this uncomfortable position. It doesn't make any sense. That's not a good cell phone. And then they say, well, you know, the cell phone is personal. So we have to personalize the cell phone to you. All you have to do that is go and select the right applications.
Yeah.
How do you decide which of these 4 million applications is useful to you? That's impossible. And what I see within the next few years is that your cell phone, yours, Carlos's phone, will be customized to Carlos. It will have an artificial intelligence in it. The artificial intelligence will analyze your behavior and design the apps or find an app that makes your life easier. Yeah. And that to me is what the sensors on your body that will make sure that you don't get a disease. Your cell phone will be teaching you continuously, and it will be making your life easier. It will be your cell phone, your alter ego. And people say, well, does that mean that the machines are going to take over? Well, maybe 10 or 20 generations from now, but we've got a long way to go before the artificial intelligence while the artificial intelligence can give us more time to use our brains, because so far there is no artificial intelligence that comes even close to being creative like a human being can be, to create both artistic and technological advances. And the more time we have to do that, the more time that we can let the artificial intelligence take over, the better the human experience will be. And that is my dream for the future.
Martin, please share with us an inspirational message to our student community, former students, audiences, and followers.
Yeah.
How do you see the future, Martin?
How would I see? I'm sorry. How would I see?
How do you see the future, Martin? Humanity future. How do you see humanity future?
Well, I think I've expressed my views about the future as best as I can, Carlos.
Clear or dark?
Just to repeat what I said before, there is no excuse now for everyone not to have an education. There's no excuse now for people to be hungry. There's no excuse for children to, and so the cell phone alone is not going to solve those problems. But the cell phone will increase the productivity, will make us overall more productive, and that can only make our lives better. You mentioned in your messages to me about social media. Social media has become a very important factor and to go as
powerful
a democracy, just as
a powerful factor.
But now people can really express themselves instantaneously, not only with their votes, but with their opinions about things. And the politicians have to listen. Sooner or later, the politicians will have to respond to what people want. And with social media, they have no excuse anymore. They know exactly what people are thinking. The political impact of social media is just starting. But Carlos, I have to say that we are still just learning. We haven't yet figured out, Elon Musk is trying to reconfigure Twitter. I don't use social media enough to really understand it is a way for people to express themselves, and if people express themselves, the politicians sooner or later have to listen. And if you haven't figured out by now, Carlos, I'm an optimist. I think that things have been getting better historically. Overall, people are wealthier than they have ever been. They are healthier than they ever been. I think that trend is going to continue as a major contributor to that direction, to people living better.
You don't see any rebellion of the machines in the future, Martin? Like Terminator?
1 second. Let me see if I can make an adjustment, because I'm having... okay, ask your question once more.
You see maybe a rebellion of the machines like a Terminator movie in the future, Martin? Kind of joke.
Do I think the machines are going to take over?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. At the moment, what the machines are doing is they are compensating for our weaknesses. The computer can remember much better than a human being can, right? The computer doesn't have a lifetime. So the computer has a computer can see things we can't see. It can hear things we can't hear.
Mhm.
So little by little, the computers, the artificial intelligence is expanding our vista. It's expanding what we can see, hear, what information we can get. But at the moment, it cannot replace the reasoning capabilities of the human brain, because the human brain complexity is way beyond anything that we can manufacture.
Yeah.
Today. Now, will that always be true? No, I think at some point, I don't think you have to worry about it. Your children, your grandchildren don't have to worry about it. But maybe 10 generations from now, the artificial intelligence will be so smart, it will start thinking about the fact that it is much smarter than human beings. It doesn't need human beings anymore, and I hope that it takes care of us in that future. But as I said, you and I don't have to worry about that.
Mr. Martin Cooper, thank you very much.
I see you are.
Thank you very much, Martin. Hope to see you soon in California.
Well,
keep enjoying life. I admire you.
We are only where I live, so we feel very close to Mexico here. We in one of my wife's businesses, we were actually working with a